Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 22nd, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Here goes storm number 2. It's got a wallop with it. It's moving up the coastline. Strong winds for the Oregon coast. Wind advisories. We got high wind warnings for portions even east of the Cascades. This will be moving up the Washington coast as we go through the morning today. And take a look at our big newsmaker. This made national media, and there is that system. It's weakened dramatically, but you notice once you watch this for a bit, you can see the loop. These systems are interacting, spinning around each other, known as the Fujiwara effect. Go ahead and Google that if you want to know more. But yeah, we have some more active weather incoming, and we're going to take a first look at the extended forecast because things could remain active as we go towards the end of the month. So I'm going to close that out and play kind of a common scene across western Washington. A couple days ago, you can see that tree was on fire, hanging on power lines, big flash. And yeah, we had some pretty extensive tree damage. 750,000 people without power at one time. Still a lot of people without power. We had some loss of life as well. So yeah, the storm was everything it was cracked up to be and much more. Showing that loop there one more time. So let's take a look at where we are right now. This is the mid-level water vapor loop. Some lightning strikes with the center of that storm. And you can see them creeping up the coastline here as well. Oregon coast. We're going to have some thunderstorm activity as we go through the day today and potentially on in through tomorrow as well. And then we've got additional precipitation chances coming up as we go towards the end of the weekend and into early next week. Then we get a little bit of a break, and then we'll take a look at what the extended forecast is showing here in a moment. But first things first, you can see the strong winds for the Oregon coast. A nice southerly surge coming for some of the Willamette Valley as we go through the day today. Some strong winds east of the Cascades for Oregon. Show you a bit more on that here in a moment. Strong winds coming for the Washington coast as we go through the late morning hours and through this afternoon. Kind of a prolonged period of some windy conditions as we go all the way on in through Saturday morning. Northwest interior, Sailor Sea getting some decent southeasterly winds, and you notice that low pressure center not moving anytime quickly, and then some additional gusty winds likely to start kicking back up as we go through tomorrow night for the Oregon coast, maybe making its way up towards the Washington coast as we go through Sunday morning also. And that, strangely enough, was that same bomb cyclone, the massive one scrolling all the way around and making another pass as a much weaker system as we go through the day Sunday. So I'm kind of obsessed with this station out here for Enumclaw. Apparently, they had a generator going on for the duration of the storm. Some of the other stations are starting to come back online. Of course, there are extensive tree damage and massive power outages out there. And you can see light rain is currently falling. It's got a lightning detection system, updates the wind there every few seconds for you. And if we take a look at what happened last night, there was the wind advisory up, but just some gusts maybe into the low 40 for some areas versus what happened a couple days ago. Multiple gusts over 60, couple approaching 70, and we peaked out there at 80 miles per hour at 9 p.m. So you can see why that windstorm was so damaging. If you want one of these stations, click on the link down below to save 10% off. Highly recommended. Now, I've talked about the Northeast Pacific Ocean Vortex, and that's a phrase that I kind of stole there from the excessive rainfall outlook discussion, but it makes sense. We've got low pressure centers that we've been spinning around this, including the huge bomb cyclone and the one that's coming up the coast today. And you can kind of see this cold air hanging out as we go on in through the day. Monday and finally out of the region. California gets a couple shot at some storms coming up. But then as we go through the extended, I want to point this out because some of the models have been pretty persistent in showing some interesting atmospheric river and potential strong storm systems rolling through, mainly towards, I said the end of the month, but probably more towards the early portion of December. So we do get a little bit of a break, but I'll show you more on that here right now with the European last night on the left versus the GFS on the right. Here goes our storm system currently. Then we have our, the big weather maker, the big news maker there anyway, making another pass towards the coast, but a much weaker system there. California gets a couple of storm systems potentially, and we get a little bit of a break here. We get to dry out a little bit before the storms start to return as we go, it's about December 1st right there, and then we start to bring some stronger lows at GFS and European in some agreement there with these systems moving towards the area, and the European wants to show some pretty sinister looking subtropical taps back at the Pacific Northwest, and the GFS is pretty active also. So that's something we'll be watching. Be sure to check back daily for that. Round 2, a strong wind. So Rogue Valley, 45 miles per hour today. Look at the east side though, 50 to 65. Sustained 25 to 40. This goes through Friday evening. Some strong winds up and down the coastline, 65 miles per hour, not out of the question as well. And if we look at Portland, you can see the wind advisory is Albany, Salem right there. Does not include the Portland metro right now, but some gusty winds will be had and some high wind warnings all the way up towards the Washington coast, as I mentioned. And this is the wind advisory for the Willamette Valley. Through 7 p.m. tonight, 45 miles per hour is expected. Now, Seattle, nice graphic here. High surf advisory today. Seas building 20, 24 feet. Significant beach erosion. Do not turn your back on the ocean. I was at Cape Disappointment, and we could feel the ground beneath our feet shaking as the waves were starting to move some of the driftwood there near the parking lot. So, yeah, it can be quite sobering. And watch out for your pets and your children, especially if you're going out to the beach areas. Wet conditions through Saturday morning. This was pretty good for the Columbia Basin. A little bit different for some of the higher terrain is you're looking at rises in small streams and creeks. No exceptional flooding event, though, but you watch out for rock slides when you're up in the valley areas or canyons or whatnot in some of the higher terrain. And, of course, it can be some hazardous driving as well with a lot of water across the roadways. But we got mountain pass travel impacts coming up here for portions of the Idaho Panhandle and western Montana. Check it out, U.S. Highway 2, 90, 93, Highway 12. And yeah, we have some lowering snow levels here as we go on in through Sunday p.m. You can see November 23rd tomorrow through the 24th. Now, this does include some of Southwest Oregon, but again, if you're traveling down into California, I-5, for example, you're going back into some places that have got some pretty heavy rainfall over the last few days. So heads up for that. This is day 2. And then day 3, they brought it back into Southwest Oregon again as we have additional systems trying to ride up the coastline. And if we take a look at the ensemble mean on the European, again, California getting the lion's share, but some decent amounts as we go through the day Sunday, trying to spread back up across some of the coastal range as we go through Monday morning, Olympic Mountains, Vancouver Island. Not a washout or extreme flooding event, but these are still some pretty good amounts. You're talking about 2, 3, maybe even more locally here across some of the Pacific Northwest, including precipitation falling this morning, which is very beneficial for eastern Washington. So one more look at that low pressure center. I mean, this is a monster low. I know we're a little bit spoiled after looking at that 942 millibar low we had off our coastline, but this is a very strong low, and it's a good thing this pressure gradient stayed just far enough off the coastline. It's going to be windy enough as it is across a lot of the region, and that is a potent pressure gradient on the south side. And then this storm wants to move up towards Vancouver Island, and it just wants to kind of hang out, but basically all day Saturday up the coastline, spreading shower band after shower band, thunderstorm activity all the way through the day Sunday. And then, strangely enough, there's that bomb cyclone, or, I keep calling it that just because it's easy to identify that way, but it's going to make another pass towards the coastline, maybe some gusty winds associated with that as we go through the day Sunday. But like I said, Oregon coast winds are ongoing, and then the next windy system comes in as we go through the day Sunday. This is Siskiyou Summit, winds ongoing. I mentioned this yesterday, and then the next shot of wind probably on the day Sunday. I'd be prepared anytime Sunday morning and beyond as you go through Sunday night for those gusty winds with round 3. So Tillamook Airport here, look at this, up towards 50 miles per hour. So just typical here for November, but this is, if it's not ongoing right now, it's about to start there for a lot of the Oregon coast as the system continues to creep towards Vancouver Island. Here's Astoria. You can see some of the ensembles that do have higher gusts, but nothing out of the ordinary there for a November storm system. Bowerman, though, look at this. This will be kicking up as we go through the day today. Some of these gusts are pretty impressive there. It's this Hoquiam near the Washington coast, right by Aberdeen there. And this is Quileute Airport. Check out some of these gusts. The ensemble mean is up into the lower 60s, so some strong winds, and this is going to be coming on as we go through the late morning into the early afternoon. Channel is doing great. As you can see, we're getting towards 87,500 subscribers. We were back down towards, 74,000 just a few days ago. We picked up quite a few. Yeah, on the 14th there, 8 days ago, we were 13,000 down. So yeah, if we get another interesting setup here as we go on into early December with some atmospheric river activity, and who knows what else after that. We might hit 100,000 by the time we move on in towards the new year. And if you guys want to support this channel monetarily, go ahead and click that join button down below the screen there. So much appreciated. You guys make this all possible. Special thanks to all my people who already monetarily support this channel. And just coming back here and watching daily really helps support the channel as well. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, we will do this all again tomorrow. We'll check out the extended forecast and see what is next to come. And, we're still in the middle of the storm cycle right now as well. So, yep, keep your wits about you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.